Hier links neben mir sitzt Tina Sauerländer, die uns heute ihr Projekt Radiance, das sie mitbegründet hat, vorstellen wird. Sie hat mich auch gebeten, oder ich habe das Bedürfnis geäußert, sie ein bisschen genauer vorstellen zu dürfen, weil sie tatsächlich eben nicht nur Radiance macht, sondern eine sehr viel beschäftigte Person ist. Sie selbst sagt, sie ist Kunsthistorikerin, Kuratorin und Autorin. Das ist sehr viel auf einmal. Sie hat neben Radiance unter anderem auch Mira.org gegründet. Das finden Sie alles in ihrer Vita, eine Online-Bildungsplattform für VR und AR in der Kunst. Sie hat, und das fand ich vor allen Dingen auch sehr interessant, das Saloon gegründet, den Salon gegründet, kann man das so sagen. Das ist ein internationales Netzwerk für kunstschaffende Frauen in, Achtung jetzt, Berlin, Brüssel, Dresden, Hamburg, London, Paris und Wien. Auch dort, wo ich jetzt gerade herkomme. Genau, und unter anderem promoviert sie außerdem an der Kunstuniversität in Linz. Und wie sie mir verraten hat, beschäftigt sich ihr Promotionsprojekt nicht gleich mit dem, was hier passiert, aber Radiance ist natürlich als Archiv oder Archivierungsmöglichkeit für VR-Projekte erstmal das, was uns interessiert. Ich bin sehr gespannt.
Ja, vielen Dank, Laura, für diese sehr nette Einführung. Lieber Tim, und vielen Dank für die Einladung. Ich freue mich, heute hier sein zu können und über unser Projekt Radiance zu sprechen, beziehungsweise über Challenges of Presenting and Preserving VR Art online. And I will actually be talking in English also. First of all, I want to introduce Radiance, which is a web-based research platform that presents the documentations of virtual reality artworks by international artists. We founded Radiance in 2017, and we grew in the past 2 years. Now we do present 136 VR artworks by 98 artists or artist collectors from around 36 countries. Here is like a little selection of different VR artworks we present. For example, Patricia Detmering's VR work. She's German. Julian Bonnequi is a Mexican VR artist. Shireen Alain is from Israel. Mohsen Hasrati is from Iran. Paul Leparc is a French artist and also VR artist. These are all the artists we have on our website, just to give you an idea of the variety and also the mass of artists which we collected in the past 2 years on this platform. And of course, maybe needless to say, but all the artists of course know that they are on the platform, they all agree to be on this platform, and they actually also send us their information that we put on our platform. So why did we found Radiance in 2017? So back then I was about to curate my first big virtual reality show as a curator at the House of Electronic Arts in Basel, the show Ein Workshop. And for this show, I knew it would be like an international group show. It was really hard to research VR experiences online, although I know that people or artists were working with this medium, obviously. And we figured that we are not alone with this problem, that there are many museums or institutions who want to show VR art but don't have access to this international digital artist network, which I had or still have at that time. Then all the VR documentations is just totally scattered online, on the artist websites, on gallery websites, and of course it's highly unstructured. Every website is different. And so there were no existing research facilities. And another thing that bothered me after curating this show, The Unframed World, is that many people asked me, so is this VR you're showing, is this art or are these games? So Radiance is also conceived as a kind of safe space for VR in visual arts, critical VR experiences that reflect on our society and our lives. That's also like an important point of Radiance. So we created this website, a centralized database and safe space for virtual reality and visual arts, a platform where curators can research VR, where all the information is structured in the same way, and so very easy accessible. So we mainly do connect VR artists to museums and institutions. Here's an excerpt of the artist page. So first you will, for example, see the thumbnail images, and then you can click on each documentation. this would look like this. So you have images, you have the text, and very popular are the video walkthroughs of the pieces. That's a really important link. Every artist who wants to be in Radiance has to send us such a video walkthrough. And so, yeah, that's a really good tool for curators to get a first idea of the virtual reality artworks they want to present. And yeah, we also have different categories, which are very like not scientific or so. It's very based on like feelings or topics that you see reoccurring in the different artworks, and try to group them. Yeah, that's us, that's our team. Philipp Hausmeier, the co-founder, is also the founder of the Virtual Reality Meetup in Berlin, which was back then the biggest also in Europe for years. He is a former artist and VR artist, but now focuses mainly on his company, Meshicon. It's a company that produces HoloLens applications for industry companies. And yeah, as I said, I'm a curator, co-founder of Mirror.org, a platform for VR and AR education, and also a PhD candidate at Art University in Linz with Professor Christa Sommerer at the Interface Cultures Department. And Miriam Abos, she's a Toronto-based project manager and also VR curator. She curated the Toronto New Wave VR section this year. She's a former gallerist and a total VR art enthusiast. And yeah, it's awesome to have her on the team also. One important point of this website and of our work are the corporations, that we actually really connect the artists to the museums and curators. So, you know, when you're an artist and you wonder why you should be in Radiance, this is the point where it makes sense to be in Radiance, you know, because your work will actually be seen and exhibited. I want to highlight some of this year's cooperations. One was the exhibition Speculative Species, VR Art in the Age of the Anthropocene at Esponceder Center for Art and Culture, where we could present several artists, Bianca Kennedy and the Swan Collective, Juan Le Parc, Lara Torrance, and Jakob Kutz-Steensen. And also the exhibition Speculative Cultures in New York at the Sheila Johnson Design Center at Parsons New School. And also we curated an exhibition in cooperation with Choral Contemporary. Choral Contemporary is one of the few production studios for VR that focus only on VR and visual arts. There are actually just two I know of. That's Choral Contemporary and London-based Acute Art. So there are many VR production studios. They may call themselves like art, but they basically produce VR experiences for totally different fields also. And yeah, we also cooperated with the Synthesis Gallery, which is the only VR art gallery in Berlin. Then we had the honor of presenting Seamus Gallagher's VR experience, House of Haraway, at this year's Locarno Film Festival in the section Gender Bender, in honor of John Waters. Then we still have, you can actually see this when you go to the App Store on your phone and download the VR Art Projects app by Trinity Square Video in Toronto. There you will find two artworks that we co-present on this platform. The works by Bad Grandpa and Lara Torrance. So there you can actually see two of the artworks that we on our website just document for now, but I will talk about this in a second. Yeah, so our goals for the future is, of course, continue being a research database for VR art. We want to be more diverse and more global, so break out of the like traditional Western realms, and have also VR artists from other countries and continents. And then that was really important for me, and it took also lots of work to do this, was adding pioneering VR artists from the 90s to our platform. And then the next step, I don't really like this description, but it's like, it really becomes clear when you read it. It's like becoming the Netflix for VR. And I will now talk about all these points more in detail. Adding pioneering VR artists from the 90s. So it's brand new on our website since like 2 days, are the documentations of the VR artworks from Monika Fleischmann and Wolfgang Strauss, Home of the Brain, and Berlin Cybercity from the early 90s. Then also Eduardo Katz's piece, Rara Aves from 96, as well as Brenda Laurel and Rachel Strickland's placeholder, and Michael Scroggins, a topological slide from '94. So it took us like more than half a year to put these five works online. And there are different reasons for this. Like one is like first how to research these VR artists, and we were talking about this also a lot today, where to find these artworks. It's all the information scattered online, but actually not so much online, but also offline, and in books of media art exhibitions, some hidden YouTube links somewhere. It's like, it's so scattered and it's rarely documented. And much of the information got lost also. And yeah, because it wasn't so relevant like the last decades of what happened in VR in the 90s, but now it becomes totally relevant. And with the new wave of VR, we'll also be talking about this later. And yeah, then the works themselves got lost. So all the works, you just wait. All these works, rather others, they still have the headset from the 90s, so you could maybe reinstall this, but all the other works, they got actually lost. You cannot access the works anymore, you can just access documentations of the works. And there was also one reason, I guess, why some of the pioneers, we asked like 20, 25, 30, I think, to become part of the platform, didn't like so much to present just the documentations on this platform. Yeah, and what we want to do especially is raise awareness for the topic of the history of virtual reality art, because it's like many people, also VR artists, don't even know that there was VR art already around in the early 90s, or since the early 90s. And then it's also the thing, we were talking about this, we will be talking about this later. It's also about finding resources or partners from universities or institutions who are like interested in the same thing and documenting and preserving VR art, because we cannot do this like all on ourselves. We're basically just funded by us. And yeah, becoming the Netflix for VR art. So there is a kind of commercial goal also with Radiance, and it's Radiance as a commercial streaming platform for virtual reality art for like users we don't know yet who want to experience VR art at home. So you see, this gives us a little time because not yet everyone has VR headset at home. That's like a big advantage for us. So we do this because we have a certain vision for digital art in general, actually. One of them is like obvious, the art market is in the midst of a digital revolution. You have the older generation who loves to collect unique pieces, paintings and so on, and you have younger generation, like my 19-year-old cousin, who just streams everything. She just streams music, videos, whatever, you know. She doesn't collect CDs anymore like I did in the 90s, you know. She doesn't do it. So, and then obviously a digital file does not have an original, or it is like copied an original itself. It's always identical, which means that there are actually new distribution models needed. And we believe that art can be experienced and shared virtually. Yeah, and this whole thing, our vision coincides with different inquiries we get by different audiences. So what everyone says is like, yeah, nice documentation on your site, but where can I see the actual work, right? I mean, that's the point. And we have these inquiries from institutional curators or media and film festival directors, and that's pretty easy. You know, we connect them to the artists usually, and we sometimes negotiate the artist fee by ourselves and then connect them, or they negotiate the artist fee directly. That's also important. We only recommend artists from Radiance if there's an artist fee involved. And university teachers, there are also like many who ask us for the works. That's a bit more tricky. They then have to send us a written inquiry on the letterhead of the university and signed. And when they do this, and with the purpose why they want to use it, only like internally for the lessons they teach at the university, then we forward this document to the artist they want to showcase in during their lessons, and then it's up to the artist if they, you know, send the file to the university teachers or don't, because that's the point. You would always have to send the file. The original if you want to. And yeah, then we also get inquiries by the general public, like totally unknown people. And no artist like really wants to send like his VR file or her VR file to someone he or she doesn't know. So that's the idea for implementing a streaming platform for VR art. And put it simply, you know, you buy the work via our site and then you can experience the work in a headset. That's simple, but there are like several challenges for this. The resolution or the complexity of the works, then the problem streaming versus downloading, that there are different headsets and app stores and the future users, of course, you know. And it's to like dig a little into the details is that there is non-interactive VR, which could be easily streamed in a player. For example, in web VR, you can stream it on the phone and use a cardboard to see it. Or also video-based VR usually runs on like a variety of headsets. And then you have interactive VR, which is usually like generative and room scale, much more complex, and you need a powerful PC for it. And it's not just the video, so you would have to see the work, to experience the work, you would have to have the file actually, and the software, of course, to play it. So, and that's the main problem, streaming versus downloading. So we are at the moment working on really the streaming part, the video part of VR, because the other one is for now, it's too complex. And then there are like lots of headsets. That's like some the artists usually use. There are more, but like Oculus Go and Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, these are like the models artists usually use. And it's actually an artistic decision which headsets you use. You know, you could like you could render the files for both Oculus and HTC Vive from Unity quite easily. But some artists think that, oh, the work looks better on Oculus or the work looks better on Vive. So they decide for one system. And then the next problem is that once decided for a headset, every headset has its own app store. And you can kind of sideload apps, but that's also, it's not that complicated, but it is not like user-friendly. And that's a big problem also. And yeah, if you have a MacBook or so, like it's like really problematic. So, but there are some standalone headsets now that also connect to MacBooks, like the Oculus Quest, actually. Who will be our users? That's the big question. The whole VR industry is like interested in knowing will there be a mass market for virtual reality anytime soon. And to answer this question, I want to talk about the past of VR and the history of virtual reality a little, because VR also comes in waves, as many things. And it started in the 60s, early 60s, with the telesphere mask by Martin Hillig, which is a video HMD, a 3D video HMD. So it's basically the first headset where you could see 3D moving images with. And then later on, even Sauerländer and Bob Sproul developed the Sword of Damocles, so-called headset. That's the first headset that was connected to a computer, which means you could see images in the headset or like in real time generated. And that's also very important. And then there was kind of like VR took like a backseat, not so much happened in the next years. And that's because the industry focused on, any ideas? PC, to develop the PC for the mass market and to make this mass marketable, actually. Yeah, and then like late 70s and especially in the 80s, VR came back. There was also, like in pop culture, all these ideas of VR were very like popular, like Neuromancer books, like the film Tron and so on. And that was also the time when Jaron Lanier developed his iPhone headset and the Data Glove. And this is also headsets where many artists worked with around like end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. And the game industry was a really big player back then, and they tried to mass market VR, for example, with this headset, the VFX1 by Forte. But it was marketed, but it totally stayed a niche product. And then also not so much was going on with VR. Any ideas what was more important than VR? Of course, the internet and the mobile phone, and later on the smartphone. So, and then VR came back in 2012 with the big, I think, Kickstarter campaign of Oculus, who wanted to raise some money for a new headset to play games with, you know. And then they got lots of money from this campaign, and then the whole industry, like, you know, was like interested in VR again. HTC Vive started to produce the Revive, later the Vive, and also the game industry started to produce VR again, like the PlayStation VR and famous games like Beat Saber. So, and then there's a theory which we have here at Radiance, why a mass market for VR is more likely today than it was in the 90s, because the technologies itself, they are much more mature and they are much cheaper and they are much easier to use. And that's really important. We now do live in the digital age. We're used to deal with digital technologies anyhow. And many industries started to work with virtual reality. I got you some examples of what you could do with your headset if you have one at home, but you have to sideload most of the apps, just so that you know. It's like you can visit concerts with your friends all around the world with Noise VR. Yeah, there are all kinds of educational applications like Class VR, art education like this the Scream experience, which is really beautiful, where you learn a lot about the history of the painting and Edward Munch. And of course, social VR like Facebook Spaces is around. Then you can see great dance pieces, for example, VRI by Gilles Jobin, which is really, really beautiful. Film industry is really big in VR, like Dani Levy's Jerusalem trilogy, where you see an image of entertainment, all kinds of entertainment, games, of course. And then one of all these VR applications is art. And yeah, so with Radiance, we basically hope that when there is a mass market for VR, we have our platform built as a tool, as a Netflix for VR art, however, as a tool where you can like really stream and download the VR artworks to your headset and see them at home, and also that all these files are safe in terms of like copyrights for the artists. Thank you.